How about something different for the channel? This is a Sherwood receiver. Sherwood S8400 CP stereo receiver. And it sounds like all it needed was the pots cleaned, the controls cleaned, and a new knob for the volume there. Seems like I've worked on these before with this little tuning thing that points the direction that you need to adjust the tuning. It's kind of a hybrid between old school slide rule dial and digital. I think the first thing I'm going to do is let's open it and look at the guts. It's a little bit dusty. I don't have my air compressor set up here yet, so it's not going to get a blow job. The capacitors are not the Panasonic ones that leak, and they have a date code of 1980 on them. So they're probably sort of borderline as to where someone on a forum would probably want to recap it, but I'm not going to recap it. We will test a few of them. This looks sort of like a so-so low-end unit with 2 for the AM and 3 for the FM. That's sort of like console stereo level quality or performance. It's nothing special. This is what PN transistors, good for what, 35 watts, 3540 watts into AM, into 8 ohms, I'm sorry. That resistor there does look like it got a little toasty. That one looks a little bit brownish in the middle. That one doesn't. I am not a receiver proficionado. In fact, I'm probably getting yelled at to stay in my own lane and do a TV or something. Well, I want to do a TV if we could ever get a weekend here where it's not raining or 60-mile-an-hour winds. But we'll take this. Let's check a couple of the caps. It's not impressive. It's just like, okay, yeah, it is what it is. This is a 3.3 at 50 volts. That's probably about what you'd expect for that age. These are SAM HWA capacitors. So I tested a bunch of them that I could get to from the top, mostly the small ones. And they're all about the same. They're in the yellow on this, which consistency, I guess, is a good thing. I can't really get to any of the bigger ones from the top, but I don't see any evidence of leakage or puking or any of that. So I say we fire it up and see what we get. Okay, good. I heard the relay click in. Kind of heard another noise there I didn't know if I liked. Try it again. Ooh. This thing is not happy inside. It's arcing. We have unhappiness in the power switch. Yeah, we definitely have high resistance in that power switch. Let me do this. I wonder if try and disassemble that, take that out of there and disassemble that and clean it, or bypass it and tell owner to get power strip and use switch on power strip. I don't like this anyway. I don't like this. Why can't they have an independent power switch? Why do you have to... What's the point of that? So you disconnect the speakers every time you turn the power off? It's like a redundant safety to the cutout relay that's in there. I mean, why do we have a speaker switch here that's also a power control? I don't like that. That seems stupid to me. It's like putting the power switch on the treble control. If you're going to put it anywhere, put it on the volume control. This seems low IQ to me, but I guess they got a reason to do it. So that's the first problem. We haven't even hooked up speakers yet. I just jumped this for now so we can test it. And I've been thinking about it. You know, if I bypass that, then you could potentially turn the power on and crank the audio up without a load on it. And I don't know if that would cause the transistors to short or not. They might not like that. So here we go. I got two speakers and there's a little bit of crackling here. Let's see, mute. Well, something's way off here. There is no 102 FM with this type of music on it here. Something's off here. Let's try AM.
7% of job seekers do this. So building those relationships, forging those important relationships will at least get the door open for you. Then you have to be prepared to close the deal through effective interview process. But more so than resumes, and resumes have almost been commoditized now. Resumes or CVs, because of the power of technology and AI, it's pretty easy to whip up a decent resume. What is harder to do is get that resume in front of a human being who is empowered to invite you to interview. Stein says avoid cold applying to hundreds of jobs online and make sure you have clear, short and long-term career goals that quantifies accomplishments, and keep an optimized LinkedIn profile. I'm Elsa KNX News, 97.1 FM.
A new bill will seek reparations for more than 1,000 families displaced from the Chavez Ravine in the 50s. Nellie Davidian reports from Elysian Park.
There are projects at LMU, and historians speak to families of those displaced by way of eminent domain or eviction from 1951 to 1959. It contained communities of Palo Verde, La Loma, and Bishop. The redevelopment eventually turned into home of the Boys in Blue. Carol's family has a long history here.
We were there because first of all, there were covenants that prohibited people of color to live anywhere in Los Angeles, where all of us now live. Mexicans and people of color could live right there in that little place called Chavez Ravine.
Assemblywoman, maybe 1950, will result historical accountability, public
and searchable database detailing events surrounding the land acquisition. This will foster transparency and education about this pivotal moment. And lastly, an established permanent memorial.
Do you foresee monetary compensation at some point?
The goal is.
I'm cutting it off with this power strip right now.
Talks related to giving back property to communities have been successful. And or it can happen here as well.
Coming up on KNX News, while you've got a tough drive.
There, I don't have an antenna on it, but that's right. 105.1 is the country station here.
Saturday, May 11th, Long Beach Convention.
It just needs to be used. I mean, it needs the controls cleaned. It's already improved just from me using it.
Forrest R. Tucker.
Yeah, it's just this is crusty. Wonder how this works. Is this a frequency counter measuring the oscillator speed, or how is this? Because see how it jumps there? See how it's jumping around?
It's California, the Windows deflation sale. 30% off every order. Call.
Yeah, this thing just needs the controls cleaned. And to do something with that power switch, it sounds pretty good. We could put a resistor load on it and look at it with a scope, like the guys that work on these do. That's all so you could get a visual comparison of left and right, but seems like it's working pretty damn good. It looks low hour with as bright as that fluorescent display is. Crispy.
Or elderly Jew out of a life of hopelessness and anti-Semitism to start a brand new life in Israel. Here's how you can reach us. 800-847-6886. That's 800-847-6886.
Right now, all of us, we have an opportunity to help fulfill biblical prophecy for just $35.
Have the ability to make a decision and take control of your... the horror stories, Jen. I mean, first of all, when things get really ugly, people aren't going to be able to contact their...
It's weird how people interpret problems, you know. I mean, I believe he said there was a lot of static and scratchiness. Well...
401k. You're not going to be able to go to... transfer money to another.
An arcing, high resistance arcing power switch will get you a lot of noise and scratchiness, a lot of crackling. I spoke with the owner and I told him about the power strip option, and he's okay with that. He thought that was a good idea. I could possibly disassemble that little switch and maybe clean the contacts and get it to work. There's a risk to that, but even so, I don't want the liability of it. I would just rather have it set up so that he is aware of the situation and he puts it on a power strip and disconnects it. I don't want any high resistance arcing 110 volt things that could potentially cause a fire or any other issues. So he will be advised, and we're going to go through and clean the controls. And all of these look very easy to get to. The switches are actually down on the board. So this is all very easy to access in this thing. This is not like some vintage masterpiece. This is like some 80s sort of end of an era thing, I think.
You can have a car today sitting in front of your house. Every day you say you need a new car. Every day you could have had one. You could have went to LA City Cars and had one. Go get your car. Ford, Benz, Dodge, Range. The choice is yours. That's why it's only one of us. We're LACityCars.com. That's the sound of Carl's Jr.'s all beef patties being charbroiled. That's the sound of crispy bacon.
I think it sounds good. Pretty powerful. I was going to hook a scope up to it and a 1 kilohertz sine wave and compare, but I can hear that both speakers sound equal and it sounds clean now that everything's been cleaned. Stereo separation sounds good. It drops right into stereo. I could hook the ST1000A up to it and check it, but I don't see a need. I think it's low hour. It's all integrated circuit based, which doesn't mean anything, but it seems it's they're cool and they're even, so that's a good thing. Yeah, this was a pretty simple one. I was debating whether this had a backlight for the rule scale, and I see that thing right there, and that almost looks like the socket for a, what is it, 194 bulb, automotive bulb, but I can't get that to pull out of there. Well, it certainly is just that. I got it out. Except it's not socketed, it's crimped. Budget, low budget. And look at this, it had the option to have one on this side, and they just didn't populate it. I'm going to stick my flashlight there. Look at this. So what we need for this is we need a 194 LED. Alright, here's what I came up with. I might add another resistor to that so it'll last forever. I think that'll actually work pretty good. I'm going to add a resistor and get the lead lengthened and the power consumption down. I added a 220 ohm resistor to kind of cool it down a little bit. Wow, look at that. That makes it look very nice. That cool white look. Yeah, the light does not go off when you put it on. But it makes it look very nice. Makes it look very modern. See? It really looked good with one on the other side too, but that's acceptable. That 10,000K low CRI LED really makes it look modern and pop. You got your pick there of 3 knobs that I found, and I think that one's the best. I know appearance is very important to people, so that's why we've spent more time on lighting and knobs in this video than electronics. And yes, the power switch is bypassed. It is jumped, and the thing is working very good. Oh yeah. Wow, 99.9, that's a long way. That's 100 miles from here. It's pretty damn good. I just got a clip lead for an antenna, and it sounds great when it opens up into stereo. I know I got a hell of a reflection there. But I'm having trouble finding a balance between being able to see that and then, yeah,
Taking care of ourselves.
Shut down Miami Beach.
Bring your miracle.
it's nice. Came out good. Just got to get a power strip, which is safer anyway. So, I'm down with Rebelsis. Boy, this is not one you hear very much. This is that old doctor's office classics at FM Gold, AM Light, or AM Gold, FM Light, however that goes. Who did this song? I just want to stop. I know I got this in my phone. I hate to admit that, but this is part of that like classic 70s. Gino Vanilli. Gino Vanelli, something like that. It came to me. So I think this is KJLH 102.3, which is one of the independents owned by Stevie Wonder. It's one of the very few independent stations left. Oh boy. Oh yeah, you're rolling hard in the doctor's office right now. You're rolling soft in the dentist's office. Well, at least they're really straight up about who they are. #1 black-owned and operated radio station with a musical tradition spanning over 55 years and continuing. Has a unique sound with the urban contemporary. Has a target to an audience of adults 25 to 54. Community station linking diverse population of Los Angeles. Produces a foremost news and public. They are really straightforward. I like this format: urban contemporary, frequency 102.3, hours of operation 24, commercial load 10 units per hour. 10 commercial units per hour. They're really full disclosure about who they are. They don't care. Okay, here's the next song. Boy, did this video get off topic. Right on the website, right on their website, look at this. FCC public file FCC applications. Right on their website.
So in love. That's for Shirley, Lisa, Dorothy, and the crew in Gardena. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Cameron Green. This is the Radio Free Top 23 Countdown on 102.3 Radio Free KJLH. Another home run countdown that you helped me build as we pay tribute to Blue-Eyed Soul. So many great songs we have captured this afternoon and this evening.
All that overloading you're hearing is because I'm using these TV speakers. These are 6 ohms, and I don't think these are designed to handle the kind of power that this thing puts out. So that's, and you literally hear them bouncing up and down on the table. That's the distortion bass thing. It's not the receiver. If you caught the second half of the video on the Olympic 402 Soviet pocket radio, portable transistor radio, I was headed out to the desert to test that radio and a bunch of other modern little pocket radios and do some exploring, and this compressor failed. This has been replaced probably 2 or 3 times on this car. I don't know, 250,000 miles. On this vehicle, these don't last that long. It's a good thing it's so damn easy to change. But it's sort of a known failure point with this vehicle, just like the transmission. The engine's damn great. Never done anything with it. But yeah, probably what happened is this internally locked and I didn't realize it because I was driving at high speeds, and this clutch started slipping and burned up the bearing here. So we're going to try and change this today and see what happens. This thing is actually charged with straight butane instead of one of the more recognized refrigerants. Butane makes a good refrigerant. It is the only thing that I did was I bypassed the pressure cycling switch there. It's my vehicle. I can do what I want with it. I can take my own risks. I probably would never do that to a customer's car or a friend's car, but hey, it's your own thing. It's your life. Have fun with it. I'm sure this thing's shredded internally. There's an orifice tube down here. It's way down in there. You have to take the wheel off and the fender liner to get to it. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to just see what happens here. I'd like to open this. We open this up. I don't know if I can get this apart without pulling the front off. But anyway, let's get it out of here. I'm sure it lost its charge in this, although I don't see any oil. This was actually a 134A compressor. I got this from the junkyard probably 10, 12 years ago. I do think I made a mistake. I got this one from a local LKQ wrecking yard, and it is dry, and I don't think it's going to be any good. It's you can turn it, but not well. The original ones that Ford used had Teflon piston rings. I believe this has 6 cylinders in it, or it's got 3 and they kind of go back and forth. They're double-sided, and those Teflon rings would come apart and end up in what was called Black Death, where the piston rings would get pumped through the system, the Teflon. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add some oil to the to this thing and see if it'll loosen up. So this one here is the suction side. Add a little bit of this to it. Kind of work that in, a couple ounces. See if it'll loosen up. Wow, actually well, I can't do it with one hand, but it did loosen up. I can turn it now. Alright, well, if a little bit is good, more must be better, right? So I just filled it all the way up. And it squirted out the discharge. I've changed this, I think, either 2 or 3 times during the life of this vehicle. I put new brushes and a new regulator kit in the alternator. I replaced these bearings, which you just take this off and pop. There's a little sealed bearing in there. They're like $5 a piece. So $5 a piece for the two, the idler and the tensioner bearings. Probably $15 for this. I've been able to get these at the junkyard really cheap up until now because these vehicles are all out of the junkyard. Never replaced the water pump. The water pump is original and it doesn't leak at all. I did replace the fan clutch because all the oil leaked out of it. But yeah, like 3 compressors and no water pumps. I do believe it's time to replace this. And this is bad. This'll, since I drive this off-road a lot, this'll dust out an engine. This'll ruin the rings in the engine. Yeah, it's time. It's time to replace this. And I am starting to see some dirt in there. It's not real bad, but starting to see some dust. I'm gonna have to get that fixed because I have a good air filter in here, not one of those K&N crappy K&N things that lets the dirt through, but I actually have like a real good quality filter, Napa Gold or something in there, Wicks. I think this needs to be changed too. Look at how distorted this is when I pulled over. When I heard the noise and I pulled over and I stopped because the belt stopped moving and it sat on that hot ass pulley. This is what I touched that burned the hell out of me. The belt's all distorted now. I think this needs to be replaced. Okay, that belt shrank a little bit. It was a little bit tough to get that on. I'm gonna add a little bit of water here because I did lose some water, and I had a pretty high concentration of coolant in there, so I'm going to use water out of my dehumidifier. This should be the absolute best distilled water that you can get. Dehumidifier water is like strip your body of minerals. Distilled. Don't drink it. I'm not even going to vacuum this thing right now or hook up the high side because I have my, that's a special fitting. I have to find the adapter because I have my doubts whether this compressor is any good. It's very hard to turn, and I could turn it and put my finger over it and I couldn't feel it sucking. So we're going to see what happens here. I'm not putting any gas in it. I got the pressure switch bypass. Yes, I know it's the all wrong way to do it, but it's my car. And I'm just trying to trigger people in the comments section. Well, it is pumping. Kind of looks cool. Sounds okay. Let me put a can of gas in it. Just use this. See that? Ooh. For use only with listed portable gas stoves. Alrighty then. What you do, yes, I purged the line. Well, I'm kind of losing some there. Kind of losing a lot. Alright, let me get this in here. Alright, so most all of this went in there. The suction pressure is sitting at about 0 with the fan on low. The discharge line is warm. It's not hot, it's warm. This is a little bit damp from when I was putting the gas in it, but this right here, I mean, it's cool, but it should be wet. So I think that suction line is plugged. I mean, not the suction line, the orifice tube is plugged. Which I don't want to run it for a long time like that, because all the damn oil will sit down there and it'll ruin this compressor. There is a bunch of black crap on the discharge line of this one. We need to take this apart. I need to figure out how to get this apart. We need to see inside. See if this... Oh yeah, it did loosen up. Yeah. Whatever kind of crusties were in there are gone now. It's still a little bit tighter than... But it's definitely better. This is what really needs to happen with this. Orifice tube needs to be replaced. The receiver dryer needs to be replaced. There's a little filter screen in the bottom of these that can plug up and prevent the oil from circulating. And I need to disassemble this whole thing and clean the evaporator because it's just plugged with dirt. Like this vehicle has like very, very little airflow coming out of the vents at this point. It's probably plugged with leaves and sand and all kinds of stuff. Probably need to get a new vehicle at some point, but you know what? With the direction things are going with the electric push, and who knows what's going to happen with the administration and gas prices, it's really, really hard to validate buying a new ICE vehicle at the price. I mean, shouldn't there be some oil coming out of this? A little bit? Anybody? It's been sitting like this for damn near 45 minutes and not a drop. Well, this definitely confirms that what happened here is that the compressor portion locked and that the clutch was slipping, because you can just see that it melted. It got so hot. Well, there's the bearings. They're a little bit dry, aren't they? If I had known that, I could have greased those up. I could have packed that with grease and gotten home. Anyway, it's a little wet in here. There's the valves. They actually look good. Wow, it's a 5-cylinder. Actually, it's a 10-cylinder. It's double-sided. And it is oily in here. I think they call this a swash plate. There's a plate in there and it rocks around. And there's the swash plate right there. Where the hell was this thing frozen? So these are the pistons. I don't think those are Teflon. I don't think those rings are Teflon. They look like brass or something. And it is a 10-cylinder pump. Wow, it's got needle bearings in it. Yeah, some of these are welded, like this one. This one is welded to to the freaking swash plate. See, when this rotates, this is how it works. This is how, see, the pistons are supposed to slide up and down. As this rotates, it clinko-twinkulates the pistons up and down. So here's the failure point right here, is that these little bearings are welded to the swash plate. I mean, and that one is that one is just welded as could be, but that's the actual failure point. There's a hell of a lot of play here. There's no way that was a good seal. I mean, that one seals a little bit, but yeah, this thing was done. It was just done. Anyway, there's not a lot to this. There's an O-ring right here, and that seals the two parts of the case. There's these two parts here. There's not a lot to it. You could totally rebuild it, but it's not worth it. You know, especially with this. I mean, these bearings are just welded to this plate. And maybe those were Teflon coated rings. I don't know. But it is worn out. You know, this play here would result in, you know, poor cooling at idle. This play right here. Now, based on this, I don't expect a lot of like metal scrap in the system. Just a lot of like wear, you know, metallic, very, very fine material metallic wear, which, I mean, ideally, probably the whole entire AC system needs to be replaced, because this black, you know, garbage is probably through the whole system. But you know what? Exceeds value of vehicle. And like I said, this vehicle is getting impossible to find parts for. I can't find that air intake. Can't find it anywhere. So, I mean, it's just getting to the point where it's time to upgrade, but to what?